Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to Top 10 Week here on Digital Caveman Presents. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I am presenting you with my Top 10 Surprise Thursdays of 2024. The criteria for making my list is pretty simple. It has to be something in the category that I did on Surprise Thursdays, and I had to review it in 2024. The only exception being is if I labeled it as a From the Toy Box review. Now, let's get into it! Here is our Surprise Thursday honorable mention, the Medicom Mafex number 215, Night Crusader Batman. And I have to say, there are a lot of good things about this figure. The wired cape, for example, the fact that you can give him kind of different looks. You can give him that standard Batman look, or you can give him the cape with the shoulder horns on it, which reminds me a lot of Norm Breyfogel's artwork, or without it, which kind of is a more standard looking Jim Aparo version of Batman. Even though between the two there's not that much of a difference, I honestly would like a Batman that's a bit more in the Breyfogel vein, because I really enjoyed his artwork back in the day. And you know, he's not with us anymore, I don't think, to, you know, do any new stuff. So, but this figure is a very, I don't want to say basic, but the looks of it is a very basic 80s Batman, and that's really the look that I wanted in a Batman, because when I think about standard 80s Batman art, you know, Jim Aparo is really the one that I think of. And even though there are some more stylized versions of the Batman artwork in comic books, you know, Aparo is generally the one people think of when they think of the 80s. But that's it, my friends. The honorable mention for Thursdays, the Medicom Mafex number 215, Night Crusader Batman. Starting our list proper at number 10, we have the SH Figure Arts Goku superhero version from Dragon Ball Super Superhero. And to me, it's a pretty basic Goku in design. The figure itself, I wouldn't say is basic. It's pretty well beyond basic. And it's a really, really good version of Goku if you don't have any of the other, you know, non-Super Saiyan type forms of a Goku and you want one. This is, well, at least it was when I picked it up, a pretty easy pickup at $35. It was even available at Walmart stores. So there is that. And again, like I said, this is a really good version, at least of the Super Dragon Ball Super version of Goku. And I really like it. It works for what I need it for, which is, you know, a picture here and there. And just to have a really good regular Goku for the display. When I get a display up for Dragon Ball stuff. So there it is, my friends. Number 10 on my list for Surprise Thursdays. The SH Figure Arts Dragon Ball Super Superhero Goku Superhero. At number 9, we have the Four Horsemen Studios Mythic Legions h.a.c.k.s. I want to say his class was a deluxe classed figure, and he came with a butt ton of accessories, and they were all cool. He had 2 different bows. They were both just alike, except one had a set of insect wings on it. He came with these arrows that had, you know, they were effect arrows, and you know, for spreading diseases or whatever it is that he does, because he's like the god of diseases in that realm. And just the sculpt on this guy is phenomenal. The detail that they put into it. The wings look great. Like his crown that he wears is all insect legs poking out of his half skull type zombie looking head, and like eyes are pustule looking, and he's just kind of diseasey gross. And seeing as how he's the god of that makes this figure fantastic. I mean, the paints on it, the accessories, I said paints, but I'll say deco on it. The sculpt, even though some of this stuff is reuse from across this line and other Four Horsemen lines that they've done, you know, on their own. And just a really, really great figure. My first pickup for a bad guy in that line, and it's one of the first figures that I picked up in Mythic Legions, and I'm so glad that I did, because I continue to keep loving this line, and I want to keep on with it. We'll see how that goes. But there's my number 9 entry from Four Horsemen Studios Mythic Legions line, h.a.c.k.s. Coming in at number 8, we have a Four Horsemen Studio, and I'm going to say it's Mythic Legions, even though technically it's not, but it's close enough that we're going to say it's Mythic Legions. It was an exclusive to PowerCon, I think this year, and this is the standard version of it, not the PowerCon exclusive version. I'm not sure what the differences are between it, but I just have to say that just awesome looking bad guy figure. I mean, he could fit in all along any 6-inch lines, and he's just completely evil looking. And that, like, those horns, he's got horns coming out of his chin, his armor, it's just all evil looking, and you know, it's awesome. And I'd like to thank my friend Ed over at Geek Homeworld, and you can check him out. Just search up Geek Homeworld on YouTube, and his site should come up. But he gave me this for my birthday, and so thank you, Ed, for a wonderful figure that made my top 10 list. And you know, go check his channel out if you get a chance. But here it is, my number 8 for this year, 2024. The Four Horsemen Studios PowerCon exclusive, we'll say Mythic Legions, Demistros. At number 7, we have the Harbinger Studios Savage Crucible Lemurian Royal Guard. And I have to say, this is a really, really excellent figure for the most part. There are a few little things that kept it from being higher up on my list. One of which is like the toe tilt joints are weak and they do tend to bend, so when you're standing him, he generally falls over after a little while. And the holsters or sheaths or whatever you want to call them that hold the swords, I don't really like the design of them. They work okay, but they're not great. So something for Harbinger Studios to look at in the future. But as far as the sculpt, it's super detailed on this. And not only that, but the paint decos on it are really, really great as well. And the articulation and range of movement is excellent also. So, you know, just, I guess, minor issues, but in that I had with this figure, the sheaths and the toe tilt joint being a little weak, were enough to slide it down to the number 7 position on my list. But it really is a great figure, and at some point I hope to pick up some more figures in this line. Maybe not lizard dudes, but some of the other stuff, just to see how the different types of figures in the same line work out with each other. But there it is, my friends. My number 7 for Surprise Thursdays: Harbinger Studios Savage Crucible Lemurian Royal Guard. In the number 6 spot on my Surprise Thursday list, we have the Medicom Mafex number 117 Superman Hush version. And I have to say, for 99% or 98% maybe, this is a really, really good Superman. The only issues I had with it, and one of which isn't a real issue, but the first issue I had with it is the yellow on the belt is very pale, and I don't recall, it may be accurate to the source material, but it doesn't match up to the other yellows on the costume, and so I give it a ding for that. The only other issue that's not, I guess it's not really an issue, it's just a pet peeve for me. I'm really looking for a kind of a, I don't want to call it a generic, but like a 70s and 80s Superman comic book style. And, you know, this one is a little bit too Jim Lee specific to fit that. And again, while that's exactly what it's supposed to be, and it's 98% there for me as far as a comic book Superman, I just, you know, Jim Lee, I think of X-Men, I don't really think of DC, even though, you know, he's responsible for a lot of the goings on there now. But it's just not, it's not quite there for me. And while I do still like this figure enough to make it number 6 on my top 10 figures of the year, it's a great figure, it's just not exactly the Superman I'm looking for. Maybe I can find a head, just a head that'll give it that last push I need. I don't know, but it's a great figure. I love this figure. I'm really loving the Mafex line now that I'm getting into it, and you know, hopefully I'll be able to continue on with them. We'll see. But at number 6, the Medicom Mafex number 117 Superman Hush version. At the number 5 spot, we've got another Four Horsemen Studios Mythic Legions figure, And this one is Thrace Wraithhaler. And just the fact that the little bit of soft goods that's on the figure, you know, it's not a lot, and they didn't have to go the step of wiring this stuff for posability, but they did. And just the deco on this figure alone is fantastic. Just the little spots of it. And you know, it's not to say there's a whole bunch of decos on this figure, but it's the right stuff in the right places, and coupled with the sculpt and everything else, this is just a beautiful figure, and it's really fantastic. And I will tell you guys this: if you don't buy this figure. If you don't want to get into Mythic Legions, do not buy this figure. And don't buy the Poxus. And there's a couple more later on in the list that, you know, if you don't want to get into this stuff, don't buy these figures that are on my list. But if you don't mind getting into something new, if you haven't dipped your toe into the Four Horsemen's, you know, own brands, like Mythic Legions and Figura Obscura, then, you know, and you're willing to give it a try and go out and get more of these, then by all means try the figures that are on this list. But if not, avoid these figures at all costs, because if you get these and you love action figures, especially if you love fantasy type stuff, then you will want to get more into this line. And that's just the way it is. So if you don't want to get into it, don't buy this stuff. You just try it out and see how it is. Don't buy these figures. But here it is, my friends, the number 5 pick for me this year. The Four Horsemen Studios Mythic Legions Thrace Wraithhaler. At number 4, we have the Boss Fight Studios h.a.c.k.s Barbarian Deathmonger. And I did pick this figure up out of curiosity just to see how good the skeleton was. And the fact that you can take all the overlays off of it, and it has skeleton feet that you can change out with the booted feet, just really amazed me. I thought, you know, surely they're not going to do it where you can just make it a regular skeleton, because that would be too easy. But no, they made it easy, and you can take all the overlays off. You can take a couple of the overlays off. You can customize this guy, you know, within what he comes with. But if you have other of these h.a.c.k.s figures, then you can, you know, mix and match parts on that as well. And so it's a customizable line, and that's what it's meant for, I do believe. But just, I mean, the color of the bones, some of it has a wash on it, the weapon paint, and it's just a really, really great figure. If you're looking for a 6-inch scale skeleton with these epic h.a.c.k.s, it seems like you can't go wrong. At least with this one, you can change it all the way down to just a regular skeleton. And the articulation is good. The range of movement is good. No stuck joints. I didn't have any stuck joints on these, unlike those Storm collectible skeleton bird head dudes from Golden Axe, Dead Frame, you know, that I broke arms off of because the paint was stuck even once getting heated up, and they still, I still couldn't do it, so I had to fix the broken parts another way. But that's beside the point. This is a great skeleton, and I do plan on trying out some more of these in the future. So be on the lookout for epic hacks on my channel in 2025. But as far as 2024 goes, this guy made it all the way up the list to number 4. Boss Fight Studios Epic Hacks Barbarian Deathmonger. Here we are, getting down into the nitty-gritty of the list. At number 3, Four Horsemen Studios Figura Obscura Gods of Ancient Egypt 2-pack with Anubis and Bastet. And what... I don't even know that I have the words for how good these figures are. At least for me. And, you know, I've always kind of been interested in ancient Egypt and Egyptology and their myths and lore and stuff like that. How did they build the pyramids? All that good stuff. Was it aliens? I don't know. These guys look kind of like aliens. Are they Stargate aliens? I don't think so. But anyway, this set, there were so many accessories in this 2-pack, I had to split it up into 2 separate reviews when I reviewed these guys. And I will say that Anubis probably did get the better accessories of the 2. But, you know, when you put all that stuff together, it makes great pieces for an Egyptian display. And I like the fact that you can make these guys like with the statue heads, or, you know, more lifelike heads. They have alternate feet even. You can give them human feet, or you can give them these animal feet. And the only real issues that I had with these figures is the fact that they have bendy wire tails. Because we all know over time, you know, the rubbery plastic on the outside of the wire degrades, or the wire pokes through, or, you know, there's just a plethora of issues with that type of piece on a figure. And, you know, even though it does look great, they do look great, I just foresee issues down the road with those pieces. And I hate it, because this is such a great set. And I love it. The decos are awesome. The accessories are awesome. Everything about this set is awesome. The sculpt is awesome. It's awesome. And so that should tell you that the 2 figures ahead of these guys on the list are, you know, extra awesome, I guess you could say. But I love these figures. I love everything about them. You know, the only thing I can see somebody not liking about this, other than the bendy wire tails, is, you know, the articulation scheme that Four Horsemen Studio uses is slightly limited in the range of motion for some of the articulation joints, like the elbows and the knees in particular. So if you're not a fan of that, you know, that could be an issue for you with these figures. But otherwise, you know, I can't see where anybody would not like these figures. But that's it. I've rambled on long enough about these 2. At number 3, Four Horsemen Studios Figura Obscura Gods of Ancient Egypt 2-pack featuring Anubis and Bastet. Almost there, my friends. Here we have at number 2, the Medicom Mafex, number 164, Cyborg Superman, Return of Superman version. And, I mean, this guy stepped right out of the comic book page, which is what these figures are supposed to do as far as, you know, the Mafex that are based on a specific thing. And that's not to say that the Hush Superman that was number 6 on this list didn't do that. He also stepped right out of the comic book page. And it's just that this one, for me, hits a little bit different. I remember in the 90s reading The Reign of the Supermen, and I was like, yeah, this guy has to be Superman. Well, you know, that was a big shock at the end of that storyline, was it not? And, you know, it just takes me back to that. It has a very nostalgic tug for me. And I guess the one thing, you know, I always talk about soft goods needs wire. And there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. And I think this figure, you know, he has wire at the bottom of his cape as well as on each side. And it might be just a little bit too much. Because it does hinder the posability of the cape in a vanilla pose. Although, you know, other than myself, I don't know who would be doing vanilla poses with these figures. But, you know, this one is just, to me, it's a great figure. It has a big nostalgic tug for me. I want to get the other Reign of the Superman figures. Maybe even Steel, which was my least favorite. So that's saying a lot that I like Superboy more than Steel, but it is what it is, I suppose. But this is a great figure. If you have any nostalgic feelings about Reign of the Supermen, and you enjoyed that storyline, then, you know, you may want to check this one out before the prices go up again. I was lucky enough they came down when I picked this one up, although not down as much as I would have liked. But I picked it up on Amazon for, I won't say it was a great deal, but it wasn't a bad deal. And it really is a good figure. If you're a fan of Cyborg Superman, Reign of the Superman, or Return of Superman, or Hank Henshaw, or what have you, you know, this is a pickup. It's definitely a great figure. And the thing about the wire being too much at the bottom, you know, I guess it depends on your own point of view. But to me, it's an issue, but it's a very minor issue. And that does it for number 2. The Medicom Mafex, number 164, Cyborg Superman, Return of Superman version. Here we are, finally, my friends, at number 1 of my 2024 Top 10 Surprise Thursday figures. And it's the Four Horsemen Studios Mythic Legions Arakagor. And I have to say, the decos on this figure are amazing. The sculpt on this figure is amazing. The accessories are great. He has an articulated jaw. He's a dragon dude. And I mean, just everything about this guy. He's got soft goods. He's got, you know, paint out the wazoo, it feels like. The only issue I had with this figure was putting the tail into place correctly. It's supposed to go like through the back of the soft goods and then up around the waist. I couldn't get it that way, so I just put it all under the soft goods and it worked that way for me. And, you know, it looks good that way. It looks like it should. And I like it, and that's the way I'm going to keep it, because I'm going to quit. I'm not going to fight with it anymore to try and get it through that place in the soft goods where it's supposed to be. I'm just not going to do that. And, you know, I hope we get some more dragon dudes in the future. I know Big Bad Toy Store had a dragon dude that was an exclusive for their anniversary, and I passed on it. So that's on me. But I really like this sculpt, and I love these colors on it. It is fantastic. So fantastic, and so great, and so awesome that it landed itself number 1 on my 2024 Surprise Thursday list. And that figure at number 1 is Four Horsemen Studios Mythic Legions Arakagor. Well, there you have it, my friends. My 2024 Surprise Thursday top 10 action figure list. And I have to say, what a ride it was picking these guys out. It was really, really tough this year, because I've spread out my interests a little bit on the Surprise Thursday, and I'm picking up some stuff that honestly I was just scared to pick up before, and not so much anymore. So what a great top 10 list this is. And that does it for the top 10 list. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. If you agree or disagree with it, leave a comment. If there's something you would change, leave a comment. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I am now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.